Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's live. Today's live is to talk about how to write winning SOPs, or it could be MBA essays. What is an SOP? First of all, SOP stands for Statement of Purpose. It was traditionally used for, especially mostly for higher education abroad, like an MS program or an MBA program in foreign universities. But nowadays, it is being asked even for some startup jobs. And all MBA programs ask for essays mostly. So, this video is going to talk about how to write a winning essay or an SOP, right? So let's get started. The first thing when you think about writing an essay or an SOP, for you to consider is there are three elements that you have to keep in mind when you're writing an essay or an SOP. The first element is you yourself. The second element is the role or the program that you are applying to. The third element is the organization, university, or the institution that you are applying for. So these three elements are something that you should keep in mind while trying to write an essay. So what we'll first do is to think about the outline of an essay or an SOP. How do you outline an essay or an SOP? How do you think about what points to write in them? Like brainstorm what points to write in those essays. For that, the first thing that you need to do is a lot of preparation. When I say preparation, how do you prepare to write an SOP or an essay? As we already discussed, out of the three elements that we had in mind, the first element we need to prepare about is ourselves, that is, yourself. When you want to write an essay or an SOP, what you have to first think about is first keep your resume handy so that you have all points about yourself listed in a chronological order. That's what you have your resume for. Apart from that, generally, whenever you see people talking about writing SOPs or essays, people talk about points that are not covered in your resume. Come on. All of us write everything possible about ourselves, whatever we have accomplished so far, everything in our resume, mostly, right? Or we have had very ordinary lives. We haven't had extraordinary moments which we can sprinkle throughout in our SOPs or essays. In that case, what do we do? So what is the difference between writing something in your resume and writing something in your essay or an SOP? The first point is, in your resume you talk about what you accomplished, right? So I won so and so competition. That is what you mention in your resume, right? Or if you lose a competition, you don't even mention it, or you say you participated in so and so competition. That's what you do. But when you are writing an essay or an SOP, what you need to mention is the why element, the why and the how element. For example, you won in a competition and you have mentioned that in your resume. What you are going to do now is to say how you won in the competition, what all you had to put in, like what kind of efforts, how did you leverage your contacts or your networks, how did you prepare for it, all of that. And then why it, what it meant to you, or why did you have to do it, or how did it fit in your overall journey of what you want to accomplish in your life. So these two elements, how and why, go into the storytelling behind your essay or your SOP. Generally, if you think of telling stories, it's a good idea to say stories in your essays or SOP, but I would say stick to one story or maximum two stories. Two stories is also like only if you have a long essay or a high word limit. Generally, stick to one story. if you're going to talk about just one incident in your entire life so far, which has to make an extraordinary impression, then think about what story that can be. But in your preparation phase, don't restrict yourself because it's brainstorming. Come up with many stories that you can put together and just keep it there. Let us choose which story to pick up after doing the rest of your preparation, right? So, first your resume and what all other things you want to mention more in forms of stories or the why and how part of what you accomplished, right? So, apart from that, what you want to do is the second part is the role or the organization, the role and the organization that you are applying to. When you talk about roles, uh, what is required for you to get into a particular role? That is a question. Generally, when you talk about soft skills or leadership skills, many people think, come on, all roles require the same set of soft skills, right? All roles have teamwork, all roles have communication skills. It is the same set of soft skills that every role requires. What is the big deal? But honestly, when it comes to hard skills and soft skills, there are certain specific skills that are highly important for a particular role that we generally apply to in organizations. It is the same way for a research or say your business degree program, graduation program that you apply to. There are certain traits and characteristics that all universities or all people generally outside also expect from a particular person in a research or in a particular job or job role. So identify what it takes to be in that job role or in that program. How do you identify it? If you know it by yourselves, jot it down, write it down. Or if you think you don't have a clear idea about it, you can just do a Google search talking about or Google search about what are the characteristics that are required in, for example, if you say a product manager, what are the soft skills expected in a product manager? And then you have a laundry list of things. Just make some notes of it. Or if you refer multiple blogs or sites, see what comes across as common elements or common points across these blogs. And think about some hard skills that would be required for that job or that program also. So make a list for that particular role, right? When I said, see, all good things for all roles, it is not the case, right? There are some job roles, for example, that require you to be highly creative, communicating, and all of those. If you say, I was in a DBA role some time ago, no one cared if I was good in communication or not. They just didn't care about it. No one wanted to know if I was good in communication. Yeah, it is good to have, a nice to have, but it is not a must have. So if you know the must haves of a particular role, list all the must haves of the particular role. Now we have two things. One is a story about yourself, or and the second one is some must haves for the role or the program that you're applying to. The third thing that I want you all to focus or ask you all to focus is about the organization. Now, what kind of organization culture are you applying to? Even in terms of universities or institutes, there is a particular culture or particular expectation of every university or an institute. When I say that, for example, I went to IMA. There is a funny saying quoting the A in IMA stands for academics. So IMA is very particular in your academic rigor, or how well you can do in academics. Yeah, how you can cope up with the academic rigor of the institution. So there are some elements like this in every institution which defines its organization's culture or the way of living there, because at the end of the day, even the student community is more like a family there. So if you don't fit into that family, the institute or the organization does not want to hire you or take you in for the program. So list down what you think are some elements expected in that institution or organization. If you don't know about it, or if you want to know more about it, you can talk to your seniors. That's like the best way, and see. Don't ask them directly this question, but indirect questions to get answers for this point. Or uh, now is the digital world. You can think about reading blogs about the institution, or what the students have spoken about the institution in their personal blogs, or employees speaking about the organization in YouTubes and promo videos. And sometimes even the organization leaders, like the CEOs, interviewing for some business magazines or something, where they talk about their organizational culture. Very simple but very handy things are, when it is a startup, mostly taking risks is encouraged. When it is an organization that's been around for like a long time, then it means that it is slightly bureaucratic, and it expects you to follow some processes, highly process oriented and procedure oriented. So these are some things that come handy based on the size of your organization, or how new your organization is, and all of those things, right? So these are some generic rules that work. Now you have your preparation done on three main aspects. One is about you, the second is about the role or the program that you're applying to, the third is the organization that you are applying to. And then what you have to do is you have to answer certain questions to yourselves now. Like, why should that organization, or for that role or the program, select you? What are some specific elements that match from your preparation about yourself to that role and to that organization? So it is a basic match the following kind of an exercise, where you encircle what is common between or among all of these three. So that is one thing you can do. The second thing is, why do you want to do only this program and not any other program in the industry? Or why do you want to work in this role and not other roles in the same organization or different organizations? And then why this particular institute, and why not other institute or organizations? So answering all these three questions will require a lot of information about you and the role in the organization for which you did all your preparation in the previous part. So you embed all of those and answer these three questions majorly, right? And also talk about what you expect from that job role or the program that you're applying to. So after that, where do you envision yourself in a short term or a long term career perspective? That could be a great point to add to. So why do you want to take that particular program? Why that particular institute? What are your expectations from the program? Where do you see yourselves in the short term and the long term? So these are the points that is generally expected of you to cover in an essay or an SOP based on the preparation that you have done. Right. So when you actually sit down to write, be prepared. You are not going to be done in just one draft unless you are like a pro writer or something. Even for them, it takes a couple of drafts at least. So write, edit, reread it, write again, do this multiple number of times, and be prepared mentally to do this multiple number of times. Take help. There is no harm in asking your family, who may be like completely unrelated to this process also, to read it and give their honest opinion or feedback about the essay. And try connecting with seniors of in that organization or in the job role to ask for their feedback also, which will help you to improvise your essay or your SOP. Right. So these are things that requires to be kept in mind. And one another thing that you need to keep in mind is, you have to balance the qualitative and quantitative aspect of your essay. Now, when I say qualitative and quantitative aspects, in your resume, it is very important to mention numbers for everything. Like, I accounted for 10% increase in organization's profit, or whatever it is, revenue, however you want to talk about, right? So that 10% number is very important in your resume. In your essay, there needs to be numbers, but also along with numbers, Create an emotional appeal. Come on, at the end of the day, even the AdCom members or your recruiters are human beings. Why will they want to read boring facts about you written for 200 words or 1000 words, how many words, continuously about you? What interest is it going to invoke in them? Make it slightly more interesting by forming an emotional appeal while writing your essay. When I say emotional appeal, it is just for the qualitative aspects. It doesn't mean you have to say some stories like the ones that are said in the reality shows, like my father was poor, I did this, that. Not that kind. But I would urge you to appeal to the emotions of people who are reading your essay. Make it like a story. And then another thing that I would want you all to keep in mind is remember that the recruiter or adcom is smart, right? So you can't fake something, write lies about yourselves, and get away with it. Your essay or your SOP should be genuinely honest. You can do a little bit of exaggeration here and there, but never lie on your essay. And for an experienced reader, they can just see through your essay and say that it is a lie. And it forms a very bad opinion about you and your application. So these are certain things, and the intention is also to show your passion towards your field of study or your field of work, how passionate you are about that particular field. That is something that you would probably want to keep in mind while you are writing an essay. How do you convey that passion through your essay is something that you should keep in mind. And what tone do you choose? Generally, while writing, is it extremely formal tone that you have to keep in, like a cover letter, or should it be fun and frolic, very casual? It depends again on the organization's culture or the institute's culture, but a little formal, yet I would say a little conversational and formal tone wouldn't hurt. It will actually help you to portray the real you in yourselves. So I think a combination of formal yet conversational tone will help you draft your essay well. So these are certain elements that you need to keep in mind while you write your essay. And after you write, as I said earlier, check for grammar errors. You can use tools like Grammarly to check. This is not a paid promotion, but it has helped me. So if you want, you can use Grammarly to check for your grammar errors and show it to your friend or some well-wisher to check for other errors and the flow. And once you've written all the points, you can see how the arrangement needs to be done. You can either place a particular point in the beginning of the essay or later in the essay, however you want to take it. And it need not be chronological if you want to. So these are some elements of SOP writing or essay writing that I wanted to share with you all. If you have any questions, you're welcome to ask in the comment box, or you can leave a comment after the live streaming also. I'll answer your questions. Apart from that, I will also leave a resource, a model SOP, which followed most of the elements that we discussed here in the description box, along with this YouTube video. And if you want more help in drafting your essays, I'm open to helping some of you based on the time I have. So when you are near your admission schedule, feel free. When your essay topics are out, you can probably reach out to me, and then I'll be able to help you with certain tips, tricks, or particularly streamlined approach for a customized essay for yourselves. We can connect over a call and do it. I'm open to help in the essay part of it. So feel free to reach out to me for more questions, concerns, or anything you want me to cover in the following sessions. Tomorrow, I'm doing a live session on GMAT preparation. And the day after, tomorrow is the Sunday, 26th of April, 2020. I'm doing a session on GMAT preparation. And on 27th, I'm doing a session on 1 year MBAs in general, in IIMs specifically. So these two are the sessions to follow. Thank you.